Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Anjas Budi Santoso. I want to present my text, namely the math behind the models. Three flavors of models. A sales models puts in people into categories: susceptible, exposed, interested, removed from the susceptible population, and potentially back to susceptible again, depending on with whether a recovered person has immunity from the disease. The model job is to define the equation that determine how people move from one category to the next. This equation depended on a wide variety of parameters drawn from biology, behavior, politics, the economy, the weather, and more. Three more than one way to model an epidemic. Some approaches are pure mathematical abstraction, just trying to get the line right. Some recreate society in silicon, down to person. Someone combine several techniques as modelers, a mix of computer societies, epidemiology, physicians, statisticians, fumble their way through the darkness of this pandemic. They pull tools of self, modify them, and create new ones, adapting as they learn what works and as new information emerges. They have, of course, to help quell the current outbreak, but their large goal is to have tools in place to model any future disease, whether it's seasonal flu or the next big bug. In some ways, forecasting epidemic was still in the infancy when this pandemic started spreading, said biologist Lauren Ansel Mays in June. Myers, the head of the COVID-19 modeling consortium at the University of Texas at Austin, added, and its matured quite a bit over the last 2 or 3 months. So what has worked and what hasn't? The most common approach to modeling an epidemic is what's called a comportamental model. You divide the population into several categories, and the right mathematical rules then dictate how many people move from one category to another at each tick of the model's clock. First, everyone is susceptible. They are in the compartment. Then some people become infected, and later they remove from the pathogen path through her recovery or death. These models are sometimes called shear models. Variation include a group that's exposed to the pathogen but not yet contained. Shear model if post the very immunity is temporary, you make physical recovery probably back to making it an shear model. At its most basic, the model is a handful and numbers indicating how many people are in each compartment, plus differential equation governing the transition between compartments. Each equation has adjustable parameters, the knobs that set the flow rates. A gravity over time of the removed population usually remembers a sigmoid or elongated S-curve. As numbers of death or recoveries slowly offers, then more steeply, then gradually plateau. The susceptible population follows the same trend but downward, falling slowly, then quickly, then slowly, around where the lines cross at their strip sessions. The land for currently infected from a harm. This is the curve we want to flatten, lowering to harm's peak and stretching it out to like the load in hospital at any given time. Forecasting the shapes of these lines requires getting the equation right, but their parameters, which can change over time, depend on such varied factors as biology, behavior, politics, the economy, and the weather. Compartmental models are the gold standard. Says Sunetra Gupta, an epidemiologist at the University of Oxford. But it's a question of what do you strap onto it. Instead of manually defining the parameters in the shear equation, the team let the computers do it using Bayesian statistical methods, which estimate the likelihood of various causes for a given outcome. The group regularly receives statistics of COVID-19 proof how long it's taking people to show some symptoms, how many people are reporting to hospitals, how many people are dying. They also collect data of factors such as mass from wearing from online survey, and a proxy forecasting was infancy when this pandemic started. For social distancing, mobility from any measured phone location tracking. To tune the share model, the system tests different model parameters to see which one result in predict that best match the recent data. When the best parameters are chosen, the share model uses them along with expected change in the other inputs to forecast infection and deaths over the several months. Bayesian technique incorporate uncertainty so to the models runs through times with slightly different control knob settings, creating a range of possible outcomes. One of the most important knobs is reproduction number, or not the same as the R in share. R in the numbers of people each infected person is expected infectly. Typically, if R is above 2 early epidemic grow expectantly, below if fades away. We learned how to team and share models. First, they are very reactive to small changes. The tendency is to go exponential. In a commonly abstract models, slight differences in parameters such as R can cause wildly different outcomes on both by real-world, social, and environmental contingents without using statistics to ground parameter set thing in hard data. For size, your cases to commonly bonkers. When set in motion the models ticks twice a day. People come in contact at school or work in daytime. Then at home at night. It's like throwing dance over and over the models covers 0 days in a few hours. The team typically runs 10 or hundreds of copies of the models in parallel on computing cluster to generate a range of outcomes. The biggest insight reported by the Sydney group was that social distancing helps very little, if only 70% of people practice it, but successfully squashes COVID-19. Include if 80% of people can manage if over span of few months, and 90% compliance achieve the same effect in a tester time frame. The models informed but a report of the federal government from the group of 8 Australian universities and 2 reports from the World Health Organization were all placed. Prokopenko says that an agent-based model which we've been trying to advocate for so long at the time of need did a good job. Prokopenko says share models have done a rough job in Australia, where some forecasts have been off by orders of the magnitude. Further, they help you explore hypothetical but don't tell you exactly how to intervene. Let's say the share models show you reducing air by 20% will cut the speed of the pandemic spread in half. But how do you reduce R by 20% in the real world? With again based model, you can make everybody stay home one day a week and see the predict effect of the policy. To that agent, based models haven't been used extensively, possibly because they require massive computation power that hasn't been widely available until recently. Also, they are hard to calibrate. The Sydney model only started watching reality once the team modeled the ratio of ill people who were symptomatic much lower in children than in adults. One of COVID-19 stark difference from flu. Now that we have the technology and expertise to deploy large-scale agent-based models, Prokopenko said it might make a real difference for the next pandemic. Thank you.